to Anonymo as well. Obviously, a loss is still a loss, but it seems like some of these matches at least were kind of close. The only one that I wouldn't really look at and think was forgivable too much was the 2-0 loss to Heat, where they just never really got into the series at all. In the best of ones, I find it a bit more forgivable if you lose out in such a close fashion. But yeah, no, Entropiq definitely have a bit to recover from as well. But I feel like they're the sort of roster where they have so much experience together, where they've had this 5-man for such a long time, that they should be able to shake that off a little bit easier and get themselves into this new tournament with a fresh mindset.
And well, they're going to have to shake themselves off quickly as we are into Ancient. The map pick of Entropiq, of course, didn't get to touch on the vetoes, but nuke second, overpass third if they're required. And well, Entropiq looking to make sure they're absolutely not. Pepsor pinned in towards Temple. Alex will at least get one from Donut, but quickly traded away as Forrester manages to double his account in the pistol. And that will be the bomb going down relatively freely at this point. 2v4, Mezzi and Crims to try and recover the situation, but they're isolated at the moment, starting to group towards default now. But look at these afterplants. Big box occupied, long double occupied. Temple with Elian still tucked inside of it. It's Mezzi alone. He's got the one, but he's struggling to land anything else at all. And nickelback in with the ultimate disrespect, the knife to start off the pistol.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, that had to be done. They ran down his bullets. They had pretty much peaked them perfectly so that he had too many angles there in the end to actually do anything. But, I mean, keeping it fairly straightforward, I like that from Entropiq. The rush in towards A, just get that bomb down, and with a massive advantage in the afterplant, just peek as soon as you find contact and trade it out. Works well. Now they have a pretty secure buy in terms of just going pretty much all for rifles, apart from Krad, who gets the Mac 10, and considering they're just against USPs, he might have a bit of a chance to build up some money. It'll be Forrester who finds contact here on the push through May, and he's tucked in up close. It is going to be cleared. He finds two, at least with the spray down. Blackie does the same to ensure that no weapons are going to be recovered, at least not initially. But now with that extra kill from Alex coming in, they ensure that 2 frags at least have been found, one of which is an AK, one of which is a Galil, so some damage has been done. And potentially now he can even save this AK over. This is not a bad result for what I believe was 0 investment. I don't think they even had a flash or anything.
I mean, 2 kills. Krad will deal with it, mop up the last man, grab the third AK-47 as well. But as you said, you know, default pistols across the board. It's a nice enough look. You get a decent chunk of damage, and as this first rifle buy comes out for fnatic, an opportunity to pretty harshly reset the economy of Entropiq as well. You know, you look at Krad down on 50, Lackey on just 100, Forrester not too far above them on 1750. So with just the 1400 loss bonus, one big round from fnatic, and suddenly Entropiq onto that back foot once again. But it does require the big round, and that's what fnatic are looking for here. Early mid control to be contested. And the utility is good to at least establish that. Krad going for a little bit of a wander up the ramp, is looking to isolate Mezzi in towards this B site, and Mezzi's taking a ton of nade damage, just not expecting Krad to be anywhere near that aggressive. It's an absolute gift of a kill, and Krad looking to double it, deals with Alex at this point. Disaster over on the B site as Krad just crowbars his way in. And again, for fnatic, almost immediately, you're thinking about the save. You're thinking about these 3 rifles, AWP in the hands of poizon, yet to have any impact at all. With the bomb just starting to make its transfer, they are going to try and contest it early. Pepsor in with 1. Bomb down on the floor, and as much as they've lost the long control, if they can keep sight of that bomb, it would be viable. But nickelback looking to put them to the sword, has already dealt with the AWPer, doubles his onto Pepsor. And Crims, well, he's left wondering where on earth all his teammates have got to. They know exactly where to look for him. They swing him as a double, and Krad gets his 3rd of the round to make it 3-0.
Yeah, it's just all the small calls right now. Even when they had the 4-on-1 there, they ensured that they peeked the cave together on that final player. They had done the same on the Pepsor when he was in the back lines there and towards the end as well. Taking their time, bit of patience as well, and making sure that they communicate to work with each other. It's the basics, and that's what we're going to need to see from Entropiq in this game if they want to win. And so far, it's looking good, 3-0. A bit more than what we've seen on the previous eco, at least being purchased up from fnatic, but I'm not expecting a ton to be found. I think a few kills would be a decent enough result for them to justify the investment. And, well, it might be another quick A play, actually, from Entropiq. Some team damage comes in. And perhaps that'll make things a little bit easier for the pistols.
You'd hope so, but they're already being thinned away. Not making too much of a fuss of things either. Nice and smooth sailing again. Already down to the 3-on-5, and at this point, again, you're saying maybe a frag, maybe 2 kills would be fantastic. We saw them get it with the full long rush on the default USPs. This time, a few upgrades here and there. Mezzi's Deagle, normally always good for 1. This time, Taken out before his prime, and yeah, Entropiq, there's really nothing more to be said than that, right? Very smooth sailing, making it look nice and easy to make it a 4-0 start. And you have to remember, T-side of Ancient as well, 4-0 starts are pretty rare to find on the T side. 4 rounds is pretty rare to find full stop, so Entropiq already looking like they're in the driver's seat of this opening engagement as nickelback starts to make it look like a guaranteed 4th.
Yeah, fnatic especially are pretty CT-sided here on this map. Surprisingly, Entropiq, not so much. They're pretty much 50-50. They seem to be pretty capable on both sides, which is something that's been displayed, I suppose, pretty early on here for fnatic. poizon's hoping for an exit or two. Might be given one. There we go. Nice shot on Lackey. Not quite given it, obviously. Still needed to hit the head, and has been able to do so. An AK maybe to contribute another 1 or 2 frags. Could have escaped with that flash. It would have been nice, but he's still moving forward. All right. Forrester's crossed in up close, and now he's going to step into a crossfire if he goes forward, which means I'm not expecting any more. If he had gotten away with even 1 more at that point, it would have been pretty nice. But yeah, again, 2 kills off the back of the eco. Sadly, they're not able to get any more from it, but it's kind of the bare minimum damage that you want to be finding. It's at least allowed the economy of Entropiq to be in a position where 1 or 2 rounds should break it down. That's not ideal, though, so it is going to still need to be fnatic really picking it up now coming into this gun round. And thankfully, this time they have everything they could ask for. poizon actually has armor behind his up. They have good nades. Hopefully they have what it takes to get a round win.
Time to show up, fnatic. 4-0 down. Heavy utility presence in towards mid again. Clearly an area of the map that we're going to see some contest in. Big nade, as you said, onto Elian. Tags him down. But it's the A play again from Entropiq. They've not been afraid of trying this site. 4 players queued up in towards long. 1 smoke will ward them off for now. They've given up full B lane control off the back of it. You can see fnatic starting to take it through Alex on the minimap. Scaffolding wide open, gifted to him. And it means that for Entropiq, they're a little stuck, a little one-dimensional at this point. Utility in towards mid, just trying to isolate this fight onto Crims, who will be forced to retreat away. So they will be gifted this mid control. Alex thinking about a fight, but again, the molly is perfectly timed just to push him back a little further. As that bomb starts to creep its way up mid, it's a nice stack in towards this A site for fnatic. 3 players ready and waiting. Alex in towards the fast flank as well, and this donut crossfire could be clinical. Lackey baited into looking the wrong way. Crims and Peps all combining for 2, and they will be traded away, but again, the frags start to come back the way of fnatic. Krad left in the 1v3 to try and find something, but there's going to be nothing gifted to him. That's much better from fnatic to open up their account on the CT side.
Keeping the 3 standing as well is going to ensure that they can easily drop rifles over to both Crims and Pepser as well, which is definitely needed considering the guns are definitely coming back in, as I mentioned before, for Entropiq. Only enough for the 1 full buy, though. It's only really nickelback who has anything at all left over afterwards, so 1 more here for fnatic, maybe then a few pistols at most would be what they'd have to face in the following round, and it would be a really good opportunity to try and brush off that 4-0 that they were initially facing. We'll have to see. Default, it looks like, with a focus on mid control. Keep Molly in behind that smoke actually did force poizon back. No damage or anything being done, but importantly, info restricted. There's no real idea for fnatic as to what's going in on mid. I don't think they know nickelback is actually crossed either, despite having a couple of players still in towards donut watching, so he's in a strong position to maybe catch someone off guard. We'll have to see what happens as it unfolds now, because they do want to push back into mid.
Timing not looking the right way. Freebie for Crims. Looked like nickelback might have had 2 on a plate there, but the timing just not quite ready for him. As a result, it is going to be this play back towards the B lanes to try and take control. Hot flash to get Elian into the angle. He will be reflashed off of it, and that allows poizon now to set himself. Ready and waiting as the peak comes in. 3 on 5. They're being thinned as they enter the site, and that's lovely from poizon. Makes it the triple on the flick, and again, Lackey, last man in the server to try and find some damage. We wanted fnatic just to wake up with these rifles coming out on the CT side, and that's exactly what they're doing. The second round goes their way. All 5 players kept alive. 2 AK-47 saved, and, well, for the first time here on Ancient, Entropiq find themselves broke.
Yeah, that's what we needed from poizon. I mean, it's a bit risky maybe to keep on repeaking, especially through the smoke as well, but I like the initiative being shown. He's just kind of showcasing what he's going to be giving them in this game, and that it's not going to be easy for Elian by any means once he gets his up going again. As you mentioned, though, just pistols this time for Entropiq. Nickelback had a little bit extra. Surprisingly, didn't really drop any of them over. He's probably instead hoping to fund the up for Elian here in this next round, considering he's put himself on 1500. Either way, focus over towards A. They're all in main. There's already a rotation coming back from poizon in towards Temple as well, so he should be able to do quite a bit in terms of supporting. And they decent enough setup here, especially with the aggression on B. I'm surprised this isn't allowing them to gamble an extra person maybe on towards A, especially with Crim's also pushed up on mid.
You'd think so, but that lane's such a hotly contested bit of real estate on Ancient that you really do need the second player there, just in case the flash pops through that smoke. As we can see with the help of the X-Ray, though, going to be the A-long play, and poizon this time not there with the heroics. Gets his head cleaved off by Forrester, and there's a couple of nice trades being found as well. Elian grabs another on the P250, and all that kill just about manages to stabilize things from Alex as he finds Krad to leave Elian low HP in the 1v2. Has managed to salvage himself an AWP in amongst the chaos, though. With 40 seconds left on the clock, still has a little bit of time to play with. Alex tries to flash himself into the peak, and Elian just about dodges it to give himself a free 1v1. Mezzi, just a kill to his name so far in this series, is tucked in towards Donut, and Elian really has nothing to clear him at this point. One flashbang, all he's really got to work with, and he seems obsessed with CT. Thinks he's read the play, but it's not quite going to be the case as Mezzi lies in wait. Execution to the back of the head, and the round falls astray. But either way, I mean, I'm talking about that as a round that Entropiq should have been winning, but it's a clean one from fnatic. No means. It's nice and clean from Entropiq to get the entries, to get into that A site and do a ton of damage with just the pistols.
Yeah, that's hopefully going to keep them in a confident position coming back into this gun round. I mean, importantly, fnatic do still have their 3 rounds now in a row, but as you mentioned, it certainly wasn't the fashion that they would have wanted to have put that round together in. That was their chance to really build up some security in terms of their economy. So we'll have to see. Definitely still some weaknesses. They can be broken down with just the one round win really here from Entropiq. As, again, the default this time a little bit more passive. They're boosted above that smoke back on B, and yeah, a little bit of a later push in from poizon is going to be punished. Krad had vision above the smoke. They do still have some aggressive players in towards the lane here, as you can see with Alex putting down another deep smoke, but it actually doesn't really stop them from pushing through. I think he wants this fight to happen right now. This is risky, and indeed, only coming away with the 1 kill doesn't really put them in much of a better position than they had before, but the kill from Pepser in mid definitely will.
Big fight to find. Takes away the second arm of this offensive and allows Mezzi just to tuck himself into this corner. He's got a re-smoke that's going to go much deeper in towards those doors. Gives him the even fight, and oh, he tries to walk past it. Tries to reset his angle, gives his life away, and again, they're going to charge into this B site. Pepsor doing what he can, but it's only the one. Crims needs all the experience he can bundle together here to try and make this 1v2 a reality. Forrester's spotted him. Elian flanking out long, fires off a shot, can't quite find the connection. Has to reset into the site itself, and it's an awkward fight for him, but at the second time of asking, he will connect. A 5th round found by Entropiq, and a couple of slightly missed opportunities there for fnatic. That smoke from Alex, not quite where he wanted it. Mezzi getting caught as he looks to transfer. Just a couple of big kills going against him.
Despite what looked to be a fantastic start, and even some good trades back in on, I believe it was Forrester. So, bit of an awkward one. Leaving them now after we had said from that previous round in a position where 2 players definitely couldn't buy. Crims could have scraped together a rifle if he wanted, but it seems like he needed that utility, so I'm expecting something maybe a bit more aggressive, as we're already seeing those deeper smokes once again around B. Clearly wanting to keep the pressure on, not wanting to give too much freedom over to Entropiq, and this isn't always the approach that you see here on Ancient. I am liking the style that we're seeing from fnatic, but they need the weapons, they need the utility to back it up, because already with still, as we can see, 1:25 pretty much, they have absolutely no utility to put down. They're fully committed as well, so if this push of 3 players was to come true, it would be a tough time for Mezzi and Alex, but for now, it seems like we're going to continue on with a bit of a stalemate. Oh, did that make noise? I wonder. I think it did.
Should be alright. Don't think it hit the floor. Execute is going to start to come in, and it's a nice enough little crossfire here for the CT side. Alex spotted, smoked off, will be dealt with. Mezzi doesn't want to bite. Actually forced back by the Molotov, has to retreat into the depths of the site itself. And that's a nice little retake from Entropiq in towards the B lane, disassembling the crossfire. Now they try to wander into Mezzi's awaiting crosshair. The shadow angle gives away the first, but again, the trade is nigh on immediate. poizon's got a lot of work to do here as he opens things up. 35 seconds, still stuck in towards Dig. His rotate, Pepsaw is miles away, almost absent from the round in towards the A site, and he's worried that they're doubling back. poizon's got no info, all sound has been cut, so he's got to be aware of Donut. He's got to wonder about this A site, which is going to open things up for free. A Dig smoke comes in, Elian will get this bomb down, and fnatic, well, they find themselves 2v3 in this retake. Not an easy one either, as Pepsaw looks to join. It's an MP9 alongside this AWP, and well, poizon, he doesn't want anything to do with this retake whatsoever. Drops his AWP to his teammate, goes in with the USP looking for rifles. Cut down by Lackey, which will mean Pepsaw has to resign himself to the save, and this T side, well, it just keeps clicking for Entropiq. That was a really nice setup to retake into the lane, and it gets them their 6th round.
Yeah, as you said, the molly that went down just stopping them from helping each other. Then all they had to do was deal with a CZ. 0 nades, as was mentioned before, to delay even that retake in towards the lane. So, yeah, it was not an ideal setup. Okay, Pepser will get the one shot off there. Back in the cover, he'll be fine here. The op's being saved over. That does get a little bit close. Thankfully, no one looked left as they were coming around the corner. 6-3 now. Starting to again get a little bit awkward for fnatic. poizon obviously still has his up to work with here, but other than that, you've got to take an eco. It's going to be 7-3, which is already an absolutely fantastic T side here for Entropiq. As I said, they're about 50-50 on this map. fnatic, on the other hand, I think we're a lot more CT sided. So they'll be looking towards, at least at this point, 7, maybe even 8 rounds if they could. We'll have to see. Eagle in the hands of Mezzi is really all that they've got other than the op to work with. A few players working with the Eagles, of course. Already seen some pistol success, so I'm not going to completely count them out.
Moment, unfortunately, that AWP posted in towards A long, and Entropiq showing no interest in that side of the map whatsoever. Utility going into B will start to drag the rotations around, however. Couple of players here, couple more joining shortly. Problem is, again, they're playing relatively passive angles, and with the smokes up, nothing they can do to deny that bomb crossing. Elian takes the nice timing on the fade of the first to deal with Mezzi. As that bomb goes down, nade comes in to deal with Crims, and at this point, yeah, poizon, you want to be getting out of dodge, mate. That AWP needs to be saved into the next, and they are not going to let sleeping dogs lie. Nickelback charging through on that Mac 10, baits the shot out the AWP as well. He knows exactly what he's looking for. Alex on the USP trying to be cheeky with it, will be dealt with, and now poizon has to hold on to this AWP for all it's worth, and he is being flanked out from absolutely everywhere. Still plenty of time on that bomb as they charge in from long, and Lackey will find him. The 7th on the board, the AWP ripped away, and that's not something they're really going to be able to reinvest in unless poizon's willing to go glass cannon.
I mean, maybe he's mostly been playing the tourist style anyway, other than that one round where we've seen him go a bit crazy over on B, but it seems like he needs the rifle alongside the utility, especially if they want to keep on playing that slightly more aggressive style, restricting map control for Entropiq. See what way they go about this round. Okay, doing towards mid, we haven't really been seeing this too much. Smokes down as always, just feigning the mid control, I suppose, at this point, because as we can see, Entropiq are pretty much all grouped up outside B. Open for the aggression to come in as before. Looking for the punish. Alex, actually, I believe his position will have been slightly given away there by the molly ticking off. And yeah, although no kills have come in as of yet, Entropiq have got themselves in pretty decent positions, and fnatic have been forced to send some help in here in the form of Mezzi.
Nice wall bang by Mezzi. We'll find one. Krad goes down. Missed shot from Elian as well. That was the opportunity to find the refrag. Can't quite connect, so bomb won't be able to go down. Mezzi spamming through from Dig, continuing to connect these wall bangs. Buying time for the flank to come in as well. Alex gets a freebie. This one falling apart for Entropiq somewhat. Lackey has managed to find himself deep in towards CT, but he's got Pepsaw to deal with, not expecting the smoke creep. And Elian, yep, not interested whatsoever. Over towards the A side, AWP in hands. 50 seconds to try and hold on to that big green is not going to make it easy. And again, I like what fnatic are bringing. That round looked really nice. They take the initial mid control, then they send Alex in to clear it. That gives them all the info in the world that it's going to be the B hit. Allows them to get their forces in place, and with a couple of well-timed kills, they will find their 4th round. Again, the problem is you needed this 5-6 rounds ago. Entropiq already 7 up on the T side of Ancient, and as much as you're talking about, Dean, you know, Entropiq a little bit CT-sided, fnatic massively CT-sided, this map is inherently CT-sided. Not quite as bad as the nuke of old, but it's getting there. So every time you see 6, 7, 8 T-side rounds, you know that it's not going well for the CT side, and that's going to be fnatic's biggest problem at the moment.
Definitely. Having a look back to give you an exact number, they win 67% of their rounds on the CT side in comparison to 51 for Entropiq. So, as you were saying, Entropiq seem to make this T side work from them, as we're seeing throughout the game so far. Fnatic, though, we're going to need to give us a pretty fantastic performance. It's worth remembering, obviously, Fnatic with this roster haven't played a ton, so really the stats are there with a bit of an asterisk beside them. You can't really take them at full value. More about how Fnatic show up in the moment. They've still been adjusting to this roster, so you can always expect them to have improvements from each performance to the next. But whether they can keep that up now is the question. Obviously, previous round being won out in such a fashion was exactly what they needed, as you mentioned, to come alive. Hopefully now one more is available off the back of it, because that's, again, all they really need to actually fully break that economy of Entropiq. Deep smoke. Pushed forward alongside Mezzi this time. I want to get the boost in to watch towards mid. Again, though, pretty much full focus outside of B, but they're not in a rush to push in. They're going to wait out the nades. They'll retake the control of Ali, especially now as Fnatic begin to fall back. They should be able to do so perhaps even with, I was going to say, in a bit of a quiet fashion, but no. Nades down, they were expecting the aggression to still be here. At the very least, for Fnatic, good work there in order to enforce and rather Entropiq to use quite a lot of utility. Mezzi wants to go in. Is able for one, which wasn't a bad result, but the counter spam then onto Crims does so much damage, it forces him right back into the waiting arms of Lackey. And it seems these exchanges have initially now worked out in favour of Entropiq, and they're going to continue in that direction as well.
Poizon, what have you got for us, mate? Tucked into Cubby, solo on this B site. 3 players headed his way. Again, Pepsor slow on the rotation, aware of that mid lurk as a possibility. Nickelback's got the bomb out. They're not expecting him to be this close. Poizon, oh, he whiffs the second. He had a freebie onto the planter and he can't quite find it. Nickelback on low HP will get that bomb down, and at this point, Pepsor could have been a 1v2, is instead a 1v3, limited map control, and another heartbreaking decision for Fnatic. Tries to take the fight in towards the lane. Nickelback dinking him up, dinks him twice, deals with him. 8 on the board, guaranteed lead at the half for Entropiq. And that is heartbreaking for Poizon. A round that he really had to have impact in, doesn't quite connect. Worth noting as well, on the topic of, you know, this being a relatively new roster, this is actually their Ancient debut as a 5-stack. We've never seen them in an official out here yet. Certainly not one that's listed on HLTV at the very least, and that's where I draw my line on relevance, so interested to see what they can make of it. And thus far, it's been an okay showing, but not quite what they would have hoped for, as Pepsor under pressure will deal with the first. Lackey goes down to the Deagle, and Entropiq, they wanted to go quickly. Forrester will at least manage to keep them even in the 4-on-4, and actually, they're going to have to bail out of their fast plan towards this A site.
Haven't sustained a bit of damage onto 2 of the players as well. It's probably for the best. The peek back in from Poizon seems incredibly risky. He's actually lucky to be alive right now. Takes an off bullet to the shoulder. Damage now being just pretty much sent back over towards Fnatic to even things up, and with the weapons heavily favoured Entropiq here, they should be okay. But they're happy enough to keep things slow at this stage. They have pretty much zero info as to what's going on over in B. If anyone's pushed through Ali, they don't really know what's going on in mid either, so they are in a position where they just want to hope and wait that a mistake is going to be made here from Fnatic, something to give them that opening to go forward. Really, for Fnatic, though, with their current positions, all they have to do is wait it out. If they don't hear anything coming back towards B, they have a third player ready to quickly rotate in towards A. Hopefully some nice shots can be landed here by Crims on the initial exchange, and maybe there's some hope for these pistols.
Need to get it all done with the pistols, because Alex on that rifle's a long way from home, and Forrester, well, he rips the head off of Crims. Still is a decent enough crossfire between Mezzi and Poizon, but as Poizon pushes out to try and find the kill, Forrester deals with him, and it is just a disassembly, you have to say, from the T side. Forrester finds another as Mezzi strung out in towards Temple, can't get anything done, and again, if I'm Alex, I'm thinking about saving this 401S, backing off as far as you can, seeing if you can maybe hold on to it. He wants to have a crack at this round, though, and will do a solid enough job. A couple of kills to his name before Elian puts him down, but again, It's a 9th round on the board for Entropiq. It's another T-side round that goes their way. And as fnatic take what is only their first tactical timeout of this map, they'll be looking at their money and starting to make some very difficult decisions. poizon can bring out the AWP with armor this time. It would mean sacrificing some utility, however, and you have to say it hasn't felt like he's had a whole lot of impact with it. Besides that one flashy round where he found the big triple kill over towards B, it's been relatively quiet from the big green.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really recall any other specific kills. That might have been a 4K in total, even if I remember correctly, if he had an earlier kill perhaps in that round. But yeah, the 3 where he kept re-emerging, obviously, from the smoke, that was a flashy play that we were hoping to see some repeats of, especially against Elian. Elian started off quite slow. I think he was 2-4 at one point, and since then has been really consistent. Hasn't been just going like a madman, hasn't been trying to open up sites or anything, but he's been always there ready to pick someone off once the peaks come in. And, well, this is a quick one from Entropiq, straight into A. There was actually no one ready initially. They focused their aggression over towards mid and B. They had just the Opper, as you can see, in towards the back, ready to rotate back in from mid. Unfortunately for Entropiq, despite initially finding an open bomb site, they've just gone ahead and got picked off one by one, even with the smokes down. poizon apparently has a little bit of a gap to work with. Krim spots the man pushed up close. It was Pepser who gets the kill, but he was screwed no matter what. Both of them had reacted there. Krad had no chance. It's all on nickelback, and well, despite the one kill, he takes his knife out and doesn't expect poizon up close. So there we go, fnatic with their 5th round. I don't think it's anything too crazy off the back of the pause, but rather Entropiq maybe feeling a little bit too complacent once they found an open bomb site.
Safe to say, fnatic had me worried there. poizon a long way from home in towards mid. I was very concerned that Entropiq were, as you said, going to just wander into a completely open bomb site. Solid enough recovery from the CT side, though, and the problems in that A site do emerge once again. Just a complete lack of any cover. Once you start to really get into things, the smoke's spammable, the damage significant. fnatic looking for their 6th to at least salvage something out of this CT half. Lovely little one-way smoke into mid, allows you to see the legs and spam off some speculative shots. Entropiq, again, happy just to disconnect almost entirely, playing very passively in these opening moments. Lane control completely conceded, mid not contested. Bleeding out the utility of the CT side before they start to enact the plans of their own, and you can see already only 2 smokes, a handful of flashes, the economy betraying fnatic once again. Krims is going to push up with a beautiful little flashbang. Alex gets the kills, but it's a team effort from fnatic. And that's much more like it again. Bomb now isolated. Krims will look to hold it down as Krad re-smokes to try and find some kind of a recovery, but it's a scuffed one at that. With 50 seconds left on the clock, Entropiq in an unfamiliar position on the back foot on the T side of Ancient as Krad has just about managed to get that bomb, and Elian even able to punish Krims.
Just about around the edge of that smoke. That they would have been in a real trouble. In real trouble right now. Even with it, they're still outnumbered in the 3-on-4 with Krad pretty low. So, not a great position for Entropiq to be in. Definitely one of their better spots, but the question is now, do they make the right decision about what they need to do position-wise? And yeah, they seem to have. They're actually rotating already a 2nd player on towards B. Pepser ideally just needs to stay alive and waste the time as he spots them pushing out now. Tapping away, hoping to at least take one with him, and indeed he forces them in towards Alex. That's what they needed. Just took in. Alex was obviously watching his crossover. Good for one. Takes the attention for Pepser to do the same and get a trade. And with that, they successfully run down the clock. It's going to be 9-6 at the half-time. It was a decent recovery, I've got to say, from fnatic. But we aren't going to find out if they can keep that up or not until after the break, so stick with us.
Nine 6 the lead for Entropiq as they head to the CT side of Ancient, and a solid lead at that. fnatic, whilst they had some solid ideas, seem to lack somewhat in the execution of them. And it leaves them with one hell of a mountain to climb on this T side, Dean.
I'm willing to bet that they can at least make it a competitive one. Like one there. Let's see what can be done. No kiss, surprisingly. It's actually just a full set of nades for Krad, so they might be pretty sure of themselves here on the Entropiq side of things that they're going to be able to just win this out on brute force alone. And they've made a call to stack 3 players on towards B. This might not be the correct decision. fnatic early on don't really seem too set in stone about where they want to take it at all. Instead, I think they're playing off of what they can get the read on based on Entropiq's plays. And here we go, a little bit of aggression down B is being noted. Mezzy alongside another player up close have spotted it, but no real damage outputted as of yet.
Oh! Okay, Forrester heard you. He finds the response. Clean one tap into the skull of poizon. And fnatic, well, they are thinking about grouping up towards that more stacked B site, Dean. They've got 4 players joining them in towards the lanes. Plenty of presence here for Entropiq to deal with it, including Krad, who has a full belt of utility behind him. HE waiting to go into this ramp on the call. Instead, it's actually going to head towards Dig, finds no purchase whatsoever, and they charge on fnatic. The flash is good, but Krad is better. Even blinded up, finds 2 before he's taken out, and keeps his team the man advantage. Bomb to go down in amongst the chaos. Pepsor will be shrouded by the smoke, able to cover off that at the very least. But nickelback still lying in wait in towards Dig, has dealt with all of his support lines, and it's on to the youngster. nickelback wants the knife again. He got one in the T-side pistol. This time he's not quite going to find it. A little greedy. And Lackey encourages him to calm down just a little as he gets double digits for Entropiq.
Was it Pepser in the first knife round as well that got knifed?
I think it might have been, you know?
Yeah, he gets away with it at least that time, doesn't get knifed down, but it seemed a little bit reminiscent definitely of that opening pistol round, and unfortunately it puts fnatic in a very sticky spot. They're coming in with what sort of whatever force buy they can afford, which is some Galils, a scout. But it's all in pretty much. If this doesn't work, it's 12-6 for Entropiq, and they have a chance to just really start running away with this. One note, the logos I'm seeing are swapped up top. We can have that ironed out soon. Shouldn't be too confusing though. Not as bad as when the names are swapped. Sometimes you end up just then instinctively saying the wrong score.
There you go. They heard you. Fixed in an instant. Thank you to our wonderful production team for today. With us for all 3 of the best of 3s. Although we're looking to get through this first one pretty sharpish at the moment. Entropiq wanting to take their map pick smooth sailing. Little bit of pressure being applied towards Dig. Alex on the Galil trying to take the fight up against nickelback. Doesn't manage to force him off his first angle. At least taking away some kind of information, as Elian, tagged up by the scout of poizon, will have to retreat further from Red Room. And it's a nice opening set from fnatic again, but it just starts to unravel at the critical moment. The damage is great, but they're not converting it into kills. poizon will finally connect onto 1, but Lackey, meanwhile, has found himself a double. Alex over on B, still trying to be a nuisance, has managed to unlock the site. That's a big win for fnatic here. No real utility to get them into the site itself beyond that one smoke which is headed towards short. So if nickelback can deny the bomb this transfer, and this whole round starts to look more and more unhinged, but it's a rough spray down from him. That will allow Mezzy to get the plant. And 3 on 3, we're going to have a little bit of a retake on our hands. Alex looking to sow the seeds of chaos, but it's Mezzy who finds the purchase. Lackey goes down, and this should be job done. Alex finds himself a second, and nickelback, well, he was tagged up in the opening exchange. And down on 41 HP, he's got to find himself a 1v2, and he's not bothered by it. Heads off towards that A site. The M4 will be saved, and fnatic, a little scrappy, you have to say. poizon on 2 HP, getting a lot of work done, but they do get that round on the board.
Yeah, and considering they were only scraping together the force buy of Galils and such, I think it's expected to be a little bit scrappy on your way in towards B. Overall, decent though. It came down to a little bit of luck maybe on the timing for Alex, catching those players crossing cave. I'm very surprised he didn't die, considering both of them were ready to peek him, but yeah, they never really got a chance to do that, and then solid entries in. Gets it done for fnatic. It gives them a lifeline. They have an opportunity here because the force buy, although it has an M4 at least saved in behind it for Entropiq, it's obviously not going to be on par with what fnatic were able to pull out in that previous round. Mostly just pistols, a scout as well. So if fnatic can overcome this, then it's an eco. They're up towards 9. The next gun round suddenly could put them potentially even in towards the lead. So a big opportunity really for them to get things going here on the T side, unlike what they were able to do on their CT, where they streaked the streak of rounds rather was never really found, at least not to the extent that they would have wanted. And it's a bit more passive from the CTs here. You can see Entropiq already not taking as aggressive of an approach from as fnatic. Surprisingly so. I thought maybe they would have wanted that M4 to get the initial exchange, and indeed, there's one in towards Mezzi. Falls back, a little bit of spray damage, I think, on towards Alex as well. Surprisingly, he's sticking around. This is very risky. Okay, he gets another kill out of it. I was going to say if he falls, then the M4 isn't going to be recoverable. But he somehow gets the second kill, falls back without taking any further damage, and now they've got a 5-on-3, with poizon also dinked up heavily.
Yeah, the spam from nickelback even managing to connect onto him brings him down to 10. And what was looking like a very promising situation for fnatic is very rapidly coming off the rails here. They're going to double back. A-site will be the final target. Nickelback on the fast rotate through red. It's going to be a Deagle and a CZ, and that's not a bad combination to have in this sort of a situation. poizon is going to have to play passively, and that opens things up. Lackey 1-for-1, but that's good enough. Pepsaw trying to stabilize the sinking ship, has managed to find himself a double. That's the A-site taken, but poizon thinks there's cover. Nickelback has dealt with everything there is inside of the site. And poizon on 10 HP from that initial M4A1. spam is going to go down to it as well. You said the M4A1 had to have impact. Well, a quad kill is perfect from Nickelback. And right as we were talking about fnatic stabilizing, about them bringing that gap close, well, Entropiq find the miracle.
We'd like to see big risks, obviously, were taken in that round, and it's not going to be a reliable way for them to keep on winning rounds, but considering they had the only single rifle in behind the force buy, it made sense to try something a little bit wild, and they even had the buffer room, obviously, of it being a 10-7 at that point, so yeah, pays off. They have an 11-7 lead now. They fire back on fnatic and get revenge, winning a force buy of their own, and this time fnatic aren't going to have the rifles to back this buy up on everyone. They've got at least one AK on poizon, but other than that, it's just Eagles. Pretty good nades, though. That is one thing I suppose of no. We can't hear that dog that's screaming. Not my one or anything.
Nah, you're good. Eagles out. As you said, poizon with the AK, trusted to try and pull off the miracle. They're going to try and thread the eye of the needle here in towards that A site. Quite often there is a timing as the initial mid control is taken, but fnatic unfortunately have not found it. Forrester rotates back, drops a little bit of utility, and Lackey in towards Donut is ready to deal with whatever may head his way, and it is going to be that hit out A long. There's no AWP in the server for Entropiq to really rain down terror on this cross, so the initial cross at least will be given away. Krad just chipping off the bodies as they try and get in towards this A site again. Temple still occupied by Forrester. He's not forced back by any utility. They will at least get this bomb down, but Krad already storming in, looking to get this retake going, and is doing just that. Mezzi, ever consistent, does manage to at least grab one on the Deagle, and with Alex combining alongside, this starts to get a little bit interesting. Elian down on 11 HP. If they can find one more big kill, then this retake might be starting to struggle. A dink onto Nickelback from Mezzi. Alex able to capitalize on the low HP player, but they're both so low on health. Alex with just single digits remaining will go down, and what was such a promising situation for fnatic is undone by the lip of a box. If Mezzi had found that headshot cleanly, I think they would have had that one in the bag, but by staying alive, by waiting a couple more seconds, by getting that HE out, Nickelback is able to stabilize things for a 12th for Entropiq.
Nickelback being important in the last few rounds now for Entropiq at this stage, but yeah, they do it. They managed to pull together a couple of rounds, ensure that fnatic don't pull off the force buy this time. And now, up against what is just an eco with a few pistols being upgraded, they should have a 13-7 lead. This is their map choice, in fairness, so not the most surprising that they are making this work right now, but Nuke is still a map that they're able to play pretty well, despite it being fnatic's map choice, so fnatic really ideally do want to be getting as much done here as possible. Looks like we're not really seeing any aggression from the CT side, but they are taking a bit of a risk. They're playing with 3 players over towards B. They've pretty much fully abandoned mid, I guess knowing that they're just against the pistols and that they can play a bit more passively with the weapons they have.
It's a nice enough setup as well. Lackey plays the crack angle. He'll get any info if mid is taken through red room. Allows for the rotation to come through. Solo player on the A site, well, they're always comfortable enough holding down things, as it is a very one-dimensional attack coming out of A long. And from there, well, why not? Put all your eggs in one basket. Let's have 3 rifles over towards this B-bomb site and try and get through it cleanly. 50 seconds left on the clock. What little utility fnatic have is about to go out. Pepsor and Crims with the 2 smokes. Early dig control is going to be conceded, and in towards the cave, it looked for a moment like the battle was going to be fought. Instead, up the ramp and into the jaws will come fnatic. nickelback with a Molotov in place, ready to stop this, and with just 30 seconds left on the clock, a well-timed Molotov here may well undo this whole round. It's going to come in just in time from nickelback. The smoke not quite deep enough to put it out. Krad gets the freebie, and fnatic, well, they're scrambling back over towards the A bomb site. They don't have a choice. They've got to try and get into one of them. And Lackey, he's bided his time. He's waited in towards the donut. Knows he's just got to stay alive. Just got to be a nuisance. His teammates are there. Crims, whilst he finds 1 kill, I don't think it's going to be enough. Mezzi needs to hold on to donut for longer than he manages. The bomb at least will go down. But nickelback with the execution will finish the job. 13 on the board. I mean, it's not the worst result in the world for fnatic. They find a kill. They get that bomb down. But again, Entropiq just look to have the read on them at the moment.
Yeah, it's unfortunate Mezzi couldn't maybe even get that 1 extra kill in towards Dona. If he gets that and maybe even gets away with the M4 to survive after the bomb goes down, they could have found a bit more in terms of positives out of the round. But at this stage, really, you're just looking for round wins either way. So that's the main thing they need to do right now. Turn the tide of this game and hopefully give themselves a chance to get something going. Otherwise, they're going to be heading on to nuke a map down with a pretty tough time ahead of them, even though it is their own map choice. For Entropiq, I'm sure pretty much all of their last few losses on towards nuke are what make their stats kind of deceiving, and they're against some of the best teams that are around. So see exactly what's going to happen as we move forward. For now, though, we'll focus on this gun round, because this could be the potentially last one for fnatic, or it could be hopefully the one to reboot them, I suppose, in a way, because they've been missing pretty much for this entire T side. A good bit of damage from Alex. They're going to just try and pounce off the back of that now. Krad forced into the back lines. There is a player, sure, pushed up in towards the cave. He's not really going to be able to do anything about this right now, as he's mollied as well, I believe.
Alex trying to take the fight to them on long. Is tagged down low, and Krad taking full advantage on the swing. They have conceded the B site, but they found themselves a man advantage to work with here in Entropiq, and nickelback spotting out and dealing with Crims will double it. Missed shot from poizon, and again it's punished. Both players now in towards the cave, and well, Mezzi, you've left Pepsor out to dry, mate. nickelback will find one more, and Mezzi 1v5 stuck in the cave, trying desperately to deal with nickelback. Will find at least one, but he's running out of bullets if nothing else. Lackey will deal with him, 14 on the board. And again, an initially promising situation for fnatic. And they just seem to be a little bit disjointed. Alex is trying to peek into long, flashing himself into it. Crims stuck, trying to late rotate through dig. Again, a lack of support. And from there, wow, 3 on 5, holding on to that B site is untenable at the best of times. Entropiq making the retake look lovely and clean. And as you said, Dean, this is starting to look a little bit grim for fnatic. They will be able to get a half buy into this one. A couple of AKs, a scout come out alongside the techs, and well, when it's this kind of buy, you've only got one choice: charging into that A site, and they are going to get a decent amount of control for free. Forrester finds one, but he's traded away, and that should open up the bomb plant at the very least.
Not a bad pick by poizon. Unfortunately, his teammates weren't able to hang on in the meantime, so they're going to be mowed down. Free surviving, I mean, nothing too, I guess, crazy about that round. Obviously, just a force buy and a rush in towards A. Not a lot to say. That round before, though, I feel like was the one where it really could have came alive for fnatic. And yeah, as you had said, there was questionable decisions being made, like peeking towards the back lines. They maybe could have just focused on pinching the cave, etc. So it does just seem like the communication maybe between fnatic right now is a little bit off. Hopefully something that can be reset between maps, maybe even now with a few rounds coming back their way to get a bit of momentum going, but that doesn't seem too likely. Forrester mows down Crims as he emerges through the smoke on mid, and well, with that now we've got a 5-on-4, a poor position for fnatic to try and recover from that just gets worse and worse.
That's a tilter for Crims as well. He chews on the HE, slows his movement to a crawl. He's a free target, a sitting duck in towards mid, and well, gladly taken by Entropiq as they look to shut out this first map in style. Mezzi trying to toy his way up the ramp. Has got a bit of a timing onto nickelback, but again, that Molotov is going to save him somewhat. He's got a smoke as well. Looks to use it on his own molly instead of fnatic's, and well, Krad through it is going to find one. Forrester doubles the receipt, and well, Poizon, what have you got for us, mate? 1v5, 39 HP, being spammed all the while through that smoke. Conscious that, well, everywhere's a possibility. He's holding spawn, he's holding lane, he's got to hold the site itself, and Elian will get the job done. 16-7 is the final scoreline on Ancient, and, well, we expected dominance from Entropiq, and that was exactly what we got. Smooth sailing on the CT side.
Yeah, and even just based on the stats that we knew about how the team generally perform on the map, we knew that it was a possibility. We could see the B side being a little bit